How long should I go, Dave?
It's a 20-minute
Oh,
feature,
okay,
but I'm
very
not
good.
gonna stop. I won't
No,
stop you if you go over. No bell
absolutely. Thank
here.
you very much. Well, I like to start off by talking a little bit about what I do. I do what I would call a visio divina, and what it basically amounts to, and I can gloss on a little tiny bit, is it begins each day by looking at a piece of art and meditating on it and finding it speaking to me, and then trying to take a kind of a dictation almost, and then putting it in a bit of a form. And in this case, most all of them that I'll be doing today are in sonnet form. And so in the hush between late and seeing, I practice this visio divina as if the world itself were kind of a psalm in fragments, of each pigment kind of a syllable of breathing, each contour a kind of trembling of the logos through matter. And the gaze does not consume, but it concentrates, and the vision becomes kind of a prayer, a slow transubstantiation of the visible into flame. And in this radiant discipline, hopefully it's a discipline if I'm disciplined enough to do it each day, that's half excavation and half kind of an enunciation. I've really come to believe, as I've been doing these over the last few years, that my soul is kind of learning again that perception is the mind's liturgy, and that every created thing, of course, is a window opening towards the all. And so the first I'd like to read today is, and these most of these will be referenced by paintings, which are very obvious to find online. And the first one is Astronomer by Candlelight after Gerard Deux. One flame composes cosmos from the gloom. Its small, deliberate fire, a living star. The scholar bends as if to read how far the mind may travel through its waxen bloom. Around him, time's devices, glass and plume. The globe he steadies, like a beating spar, revolve within the hush where the wonders are, the finite trembling at the infinite's room. O lamp of thought, O molecule of grace, how mind you're ablaze, yet how the dark recedes. This is creation's echo, face to face, matter made mindful through its burning deeds. Each spark within the void declares its place. God thinks through candle, hand, and mind that reads. Wrapping up to Halloween, two in a row here that maybe touch on some darker things. The first one is The Fall of the Damned, after Peter Paul Rubens' famous painting. The storm of bodies churns, a choir of dread. Flesh flung like meteors through burning air, each cry a spark of judgment, each despair an inferno in heaven's sentence read. Archangel Michael, terrible, gold shod, spread in calm dominion, strikes with lifted stare. Beneath the damned convulse, grotesquely fair, their ruin framed as if by glory fed. What dreadful symmetry! The beauty torn from mercy's root, yet luminous with blame. Does love permit this cataract of flame? Their anguish is a mirror we adorn, for in each twisted form, each shriek, each name, the world still falls and dares to call it morn. This next one is The Gesture Contemplates a Skeleton after the painting by Paul stayed. Many of these are 19th century. Some, of course, go back further. And many of these are very famous, and they're very easily found throughout the internet, so you can see them. The fool sits crowned in cinders, wine gone dry. His bells unring, the air a chalk white ache, and skull across from him begins to wake. A grin that gospels ruin born to eye. Between them, dust of laughter, paper sky. The wit that mocked the void now turns opaque. Each jest he flung returns a dark mistake, an echo in the crypt of his reply. O mirth's apprentice, learning dreads decree. Your mask dissolves through mirrors stare. God's silence threads your motley's tapestry. What is this comedy but answered prayer? The joke of being utterly, endlessly, till death's white mask completes the holy dare. I had a dream recently about trees, and it's kind of a dream Visio Divina in a way. This is the trees always say something. Even in drought, the sap remembers rain. A fluent whisper under bark and vein, root murmurs, threading loom, the half heard prayer, each green syllable wrestling toward the air. They speak in climb, in Cambrian's slow flame, in leaves that lift their lucid palms again. Their stillness hums with wordless holy strain, a grammar older than our namings claim. So when the dust collects upon the soul, and every nerve grows brittle with the heat, look up. The trunk translates the dark's patrol into an upward yearning, firm, complete. What bends toward light fulfills its secret role to rise through the silence till the silence speaks sweet. I'm quite a fan of because of raising my son some anime, and there is an anime that out there that features a cat. And the cat is named after Prince Miskin from Dostoevsky's The Idiot. And I loved the confluence of these things coming together. So this provoked a sonnet. Prince Mishkin, the cat, his purrs a theorem, curve in fur and flame, a soft recurrence folded into dream. Each whisker thrums the field's invisible scheme. How thought and tenderness are much the same. He moves to society's web, calm, untamed, a ripple in the universal gleam. His gold eyes mirror what quarks redeem, communion's depth beneath each mortal name. O speech, beneath our grammar's breathing grace, where all that lives will answer and will hear the language that the atoms still rehearse. Lion and lamb, and man and cat, one sphere, a single pulse, one mind in radiant space, each heart translated, fluent in the universe. A favorite film that perhaps many of you have seen, and if you haven't, please do. It's Cinema Paradiso, and I've always felt that the film um, is kind of a luminous elegy for art. Art's moral and emotional truths, and the cinema's fragile light both sort of sanctifies and redeems the human longing it portrays, and so it prompted this particular sonnet. Light spools its reel through dust, through dream, to fire, the screen of veil where longing learns to turn, each frame a quickened pulse, each fade a yearn, a quiet radiance, breath within the wire. Yet truth must underwrite what arts require. A lie may glimmer, but it cannot earn the heart's full chord. The film's interior burn, where love is measure, not the mind's desire. Alfredo's care was broken, rough, yet real. He spliced the boy from sorrow, thought to save, not knowing mercy deepens what we feel. So art bows low before the gift it gave. The flicker finds its origin in zeal, and light remembers what the shadows crave. Recently wrote sort of a hard meditation for me. It's a meditation on what I would think of as radiant surrender, where thought meets its own horizon. And this sonnet is called "To Die." Philosophy begins where breath would end, each question sharpened to the bone of thought, each silence honed by what our lives have wrought, till sense and mystery fold and cannot mend. We learn the edge where soul and body bend to read in grief what mortal love has taught, what loss completes the likeness we have sought, and dying in the wording souls intend. The death of one we love refines the air. The room resounds with the presence gone to light, and the absence thickens into fervent prayer. So mind consents at last to finite sight, God's wound in us made luminous, laid bare, and through our dying, love puts death to flight. Thinking of all the events of a weekend or so ago, of course, and everything going forward, one of the best examples I have ever encountered of resistance is the man Franz Jägerstätter. Franz Jägerstätter was a simple but very eloquent farmer during Nazi Germany who stood up to the Nazis, when in fact many of the bishops and many of the other people around didn't. And he became a martyr, and I think hopefully someday he'll be risen to sainthood. But he's a solitary witness that gives us a great example on how to be resistant in these times and in all the times when resistance is needed, and in fact perhaps in all times resistance is needed. In solitary witness for blessed Franz Jägerstatter. No trumpet, only the pulse of threshing rain, a scythe laid down, the salt smutch on the blade shines clean with cost. In a ragagund, he stayed his hand from blood. The world would not abstain. They stilled him with rope, the oath, the chain, his bishop's ghost gray, mouths of sodden shade. Yet one stood still. One furrowed field he made through hell's wide yield, and sowed no lie for grain. Franz, farmer of the veiled, the voiceless, known by God alone, he wrestled choice, was clear. No Führer's stamp shall foul what Christ has sown. He sowed in dark. We glean him now, severe, a sunlit blade. His silence out has grown a word the Reich could not coerce by fear. Recently, there's been this wonderful talk with physicists. Thank you very much, by the way. Um, um, that perhaps, according to quantum physicists, death doesn't exist, and and oftentimes I find that science is just as much a part of everything that we see and as revelation. And this is called the luminous fold. If all that dies is folded light unspun, and we, observers, spark the thing we see, then death's not loss, but change topography. A wave collapsed where consciousness begun. The mind's fine filaments, though which suns run, weave serpentines trembling, loom of what might be, not void, but living depth, infinity, reflecting back its thought to make it one. A cell divides, an atom sings, the thread of soul through quark and chromosomes is caught. We are the field made flesh, the dream of thought, the God spark spiraling through what seems dead. What wakes is not the end, but what is spread, a universe perceiving what is sought. And my last poem today, I find that lately I've been very intrigued by the most commonplace of everything that we have in existence. Very simple things are speaking giant things to me in a sense, and I always want to write a poem that sort of descends into dreams, sort of inward hush, where memory and mortality kind of converge and waking becomes kind of a quiet act of grace before mysterious mercies. Um, and I think I find that at least in the idea and perhaps the act and the existence of sleep. And so this last poem is called Sleep. Sleep takes me sideways, slow as dust in light, a drift of leaf towards silence, sear, unplanned. A face approaches, burnt umber, reprimand and mercy in one gaze. Buzzard bright, the sight asks what I dare not. What survives the night? My dear dead, drear, dead. Your mouth, its reprimand, answers nothing. The tricorn, slate, unmanned, tilts towards absence, faith's uncertain height. The face becomes the world, a map unsealed. The world becomes a face, half known, half true. Prayer blurs with breath. The hour is unconcealed. Broken, I wake to praise what I once knew. Rejoice, says dawn. O you, my wounds revealed, grant valor and a virtue not my due. I thank you all for listening. Thank you so very, very much. And thank you, David, for having me.
Absolutely, yes. And thanks to Therese also, who suggested that I ask you to feature. I
Oh,
love what you do, and
thank you.
absolutely. And even when you delved into the dark with the storm of bodies churn, Oh my God. And you mentioned the Inferno right while I was thinking of Blake and his, you know, I forget the term for it, his printmaking uh, to illustrate Dante's Divina Commedia. So, the souls in Inferno, etc., Blake brought to life very colorfully, and it was reminding me of that. And some of these lines, like an echo in the grip of his reply. Oh my, reminded me of Rilke. And the trees always say something. What a fascinating poem, and how the dry roots or the dry sap remember rain. What an interesting thing.
This
The
summer,
memory,
especially with the drought, yes,
absolutely. And
metaphorically and every other way, you know.
true. And you have radiant surrender, and mercy deepens what we feel. And it interestingly, about sleep, and this sounds so absurd, but I do most of my writing in my sleep
Hmm.
because I have literally almost 500 pages of little poems that came from dreams. So that's a lot more than I write while I'm conscious. You know, let's open our mics and everybody clap, comment, whistle, whatever you like. Just please respond to that reading.
Yeah.
That was wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you very much.
That was a
Well done,
great
GE.
reading. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Mm.
Don't
All
do this
right.
very often, and so to come to a place and share something like this for a while is it even seems more in some ways rising up above into community and to something even above poetry, if there is such a thing, you know. So,
Wow.
but yeah,
Beautifully said.
thank you.
Indeed. All right. I'll stop the recording now. I just wanted you to have some of the positive response.